when I did my placement year last year at IBM in their Executive Succession and Development team, which involved aspects of recruitment, strategy planning and promotion.
Hi, my name is Ishara Badarea. I'm currently studying law and I did my placement year in Germany for a company called Superbath, and I was in charge of customer service, HR and marketing.
Congratulations on getting an offer for your placement year. Although every office is different and you're all going to have an individual experience, we're going to share some general do's and don'ts about how to behave on your placement year. We're going to give you some tips on how to prepare and behave on your first day of your placement.
Make sure you plan a journey, meaning try to be there at least 20 minutes early in order to prevent any delays or any traffic.
Also, make sure that you have everything you need. Although you may be provided with things such as notepads and pens, don't assume this. So bring your own stationery and make sure you have some ID, as depending on the company they might ask for at the front desk.
Try to look professional, meaning try not to look too casual, as perhaps wearing a suit on your first day would be much better than just wearing too casual clothes, as first impression really matters.
Also, when you arrive, know who you need to ask for at the front desk. Make sure you're aware of what you need to do and where you need to go on your first day. Do you need to ask your manager, or do you need to just sit down and they'll come down and get you? Make sure you know exactly what you're doing so you don't waste any time and end up late because of any complications.
Introduce yourself to other managers and your colleagues. Always smile and try to be approachable.
Make sure you're asking questions. It's important for them to understand that you want to know more about the job and that you're willing to learn. If they're teaching you things and you don't understand, don't be afraid to ask questions. They don't expect you to come in with all the knowledge you need, so make sure you're showing them that you're engaged and that you're willing to learn.
Know your job description, meaning know what you'll be doing during the placement and what you could potentially do if you take some new job roles or new opportunities as well.
Here's our advice on general business etiquette and how to behave on your placement year.
Try to be more organised, meaning try to do a plan for during the week, try to tidy your desk, try to see what you have to do first, try to prioritise tasks and make sure that you talk to your manager and make sure that what you prioritise goes along with what your manager wants you to do.
Make sure you're treating everyone with respect. Although you might feel that your fellow interns, you can joke around and you don't have to be quite as professional with them, you never know the opportunities they might bring you in the future if they're working in a different team. So make sure you treat them as a valued colleague and you act professionally towards everybody.
Try not to have your phone out, meaning during working hours, put your phone silent and try to put it away, and then you can just catch up during your break or after work.
Never ever complain about your employer on social media. Although a lot of you are going to be thinking, I wouldn't do that anyway, and that's really obvious, you'd be surprised by how many people get caught out by this. Even if you haven't got your employer as a friend on Facebook, or Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, make sure you're not complaining about work or about anyone you work with, as it can affect your role at your placement.
Try to be formal, meaning the language that you use for your colleagues and your managers have to be the same, even though you might be friends outside the office.
If you're working with confidential data, make sure you don't share it with anybody outside your team and anyone that doesn't need to know. Although they may work for the same organisation as you, if they're not in your team, you still shouldn't share any confidential data about your day-to-day role with them. In relation to not sharing confidential data, make sure you never take photos of your screen or your work. Although this seems really obvious as your phone shouldn't be out anyway, there have been cases in the past where people have been Snapchatting at work and took a picture of confidential data on their screen. So make sure you're really wary of not sharing data outside of your team.
Look for opportunities, meaning don't be afraid that even if you first month during your placement, if you find something that interests you, contact your manager, contact your supervisor and ask for more opportunities or where you can improve or take a new project.
Make sure that you're keeping your computer tidy as well as your desk tidy. When you're getting emails in, make sure you file them into relevant folders so if anybody asks you when an email was sent or if you responded, you're able to keep track of that and you're able to know exactly where everything is at the right time that it's needed.
Be aware of your body language, meaning face people when they talk to you, be more friendly, smile more often, and try to pay attention when they talk to you as well.
Make sure you're being proactive and make sure you're being accountable for your actions. Don't wait until you're asked to do something until you do a task if you know it needs to be done and you know that you're capable of doing it. You will impress your managers much more by being able to take on tasks without having them micromanage you every step of the way. And be accountable if you make any mistakes. Mistakes are bound to happen in your placement because you're still learning and developing in your career. So don't wait until the mistake is found, don't wait until it gets past the point that it can be fixed. Let people know as soon as you can, because it's easier to fix if they know straight away.
Related to that, don't be afraid to ask for advice to your managers or your colleague on which way you can improve more or where you went wrong, and ask them what you could do in order to prevent from happening in the future.
Networking on placement is really important, and we're going to share a few different ways that you can network while you're on your placement year. First of all, get an elevator pitch for yourself. A lot of people introduce themselves and say, "Tell me about yourself." It's good if you've got 30 seconds to a minute to tell them all about yourself, so you sound confident and you sound ready for the question, which will give a much better first impression than if you're not entirely sure what you're saying.
You could also network with different departments and different interns during the placement, where you could have new opportunities to take new job roles on new projects as well.
A lot of companies will have an internal network site, so make sure that you're looking at that, updating your profile so people know what you're doing and what skills you've got. So if they're looking for people from different teams for opportunities, they know where they can find you.
Remember when people tell you, as maintaining a relationship after your placement could be useful for future jobs or opportunities.
Try and use LinkedIn as much as you can. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile already, make sure you set one up and you're ready for your new placement opportunity. When you arrive at your placement and understand more about your job role, you can add more about what you're doing and your experiences, and it will really help you in the future if you get lots of connections with people you've worked with on placement.
Hi, my name is Louise and I did a placement year at Verasona Law. It was a legal placement where I was a trainee paralegal and I worked with a number of different departments. I'm talking about feedback during placement year today. I think it's very important to keep on track of how you're doing. One of the ways to do that is to ask feedback from managers in forms of appraisals, making sure that they're happy with the work you're doing and that you're able to continually improve. When working on feedback that you've received, it's important not to take any negative comments too personally, to use them as points of which you can grow from and improve upon, so you know what to do differently for next time. It's also important for any positive comments to take on board. Make sure you give yourself a pat on the back for them and repeat them when you next do the task. When giving feedback to others, it's important to include constructive criticism so they know how to improve upon their work. But you have to be wary to make sure it's delivered in a way that's respectful and won't cause offence to them. If you're delivering constructive criticism, it's also nice to include some positive points along with anything negative you have to say so that they feel recognised for what has gone right. Any feedback that you have received throughout your placement year, it's quite useful to keep it in a folder where it can all be centralised, particularly for when it comes to doing your e-portfolio. So you've got all of your evidence in one place which you can refer to for examples and any evidence that you need whilst writing your e-portfolio. In addition to getting feedback in the form of appraisals, it's also useful to get feedback via email from any managers or senior members of staff that you've helped in any tasks. It can be beneficial to see what was done right in the previous tasks and what you can improve upon for future. And printing those emails off to centralise with other evidence may also help when it comes to writing your portfolio.